Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Bowman. Thank you all for joining me once again. So I was reading an article from Breitbart News that's talking about how that young people today, particularly young people from the ages of 16, I believe, to the ages of 24, are not so concerned about sexual relationships in movies as they are things that reflect what they are seeing every day. Put it to you another way, these young people are getting tired of being bombarded with all these sexual images and romanticism in these films. Okay. Now, before I even get into this article, I just want to say this is something that I thought was a little bit more easier to talk about. I know I've been doing a lot of videos that are pretty rough, so I try to mix it up every now and then. And I think this is kind of entertaining, but I also have an opinion about why I personally believe why teenagers, according to this polling that I'm about to read to you in this article, reflects that worldview that teenagers are not so concerned about sex in movies and sitcoms and TV shows. They're more concerned about things that interest them in their day-to-day life. I have my own opinion about that because, after all, I was a teenager, like everybody is watching this video was a teenager. And I can't help but ask, what did you really like to see in movies on a, I'm not going to go into the detail of that right now. I'm going to give you the detail of that when I finish this article here. But this is pretty interesting little bit of information here. This article says the recent UCLA poll finds that young TV and movie viewers are leaning away from an interest in sexual and romantic materials and are more interested in stories about friendships and platonic relationships. The Center for Scholars and Storytellers at UCLA's new Teens and Screens report found that 47.5% of young viewers aged 13 to 24, okay, so I said 16 to 24, but I missed a few years, 13 to 24, think that sex and romance is overly represented in TV and movies. No. And 51.5% want more stories about friendships, Deadline reported. The study also found that 39% say they want characters that are not concerned about sexual gratification at all, and a near majority, 44.3%, said romantic plots are overused in entertainment. Once again, no kidding. UCLA psychology professor Dr. Yalda T says, quote, while it is true that adolescents want less sex on TV and in movies, what the survey is really saying is that they want more and different kinds of relationships reflected in the media they watch. Kind of. Yeah, you could kind of say that, but I think it's a little bit more than that. Professor added that they found that young viewers want stories that portray more kinds of relationships than just sex. Now, I think it's more than that. Okay. The teen and young adult participants also said that romantic plot lines are their fourth least favorite stereotypes, and they feel love triangle stories are too common in entertainment. I'm going to stop right there because you can read the rest of that article, but you would probably more than likely get the gist of what it is all about, that this so-called survey, this polling, is just basically saying that young people from 13 years old to 24 years old just are not concerned about all of this over sexualization in the films and movies and TV. They don't really care about that. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion, what I think the reason may be as well. I think it's not just an oversaturation with these sexual images, but let's be realistic. When I was a teenager, when I was coming up, I didn't care about, being a horror fan. Okay, let's siphon that out here. Being a horror fan, a young, teenager full of energy and so forth, and being a horror fan, when I went to the movies to see these horror movies, I didn't really care about any sexual images or nudity or any of that. I could have cared less. I wanted to see the blood, guts, and gore. Okay, I wanted to see the action. I wanted to see, I wanted to see Jason chop somebody's head off, or Michael Myers stab somebody up on the wall, or whatever. If I was watching a zombie movie, I wanted to see the zombies eating people. And I can honestly say that a particular amount of teenagers that went to go see these movies at the same time wanted to see those kind of images in it. Now, a lot of these slasher movies back in the 80s had a lot of nudity in it, and some of them had sex. Yeah, I get that part, but I don't think a lot of young people really was all too concerned about that. I really don't think they cared about all of that. What they cared about was the special effects and the imagery. Yes, You put those sexual images in there because young boys, specifically young adolescent boys whose hormones are all over the place, I'm pretty sure they did like, seeing nude women and so forth. I get that, being a 16-year-old myself, of course I wanted to see that. But that wasn't what I went to the movies to see. I think a lot of that stuff was placed there to overly sexualize the young people, but that's another story, and I digress. Yeah, what this is saying is that stop trying. What I think this is saying, this study is saying, the young people today from ages 13 to 24 are getting tired of seeing stories about transgenderism and homosexuality and men and women riding each other. They're getting sick of that. That's what they're being inundated by. You can't go anywhere or watch any movie without being inundated with these sexual images. And the young people in this age range are getting sick of it. That's basically what they're saying. I don't want to, August talks about what a study talks about, how that, what these youth really want is more, more relationships that reflect what their relationships. Okay, you could kind of argue that. But at the end of the day, they want to be entertained. Because young people have a lot of energy and they're stirred up by what they see, and they have a lot of energy. So they want to be entertained. If they go to see a superhero film, they don't want to see a superhero film with transgenders and all that. That's not what they want to see. Maybe a kid that's that way, of course they're going to want to see that. But most kids are not that way. So when they go to see these films, that's what they want to see. They want to see action. They want to see all these kind of things going on. They really don't care about all of that other stuff. And they're getting tired, in my opinion, of seeing themselves splattered with all of this nonsense of sexual this and sexual. That's really what it is all about, the way I see it. So that's what I wanted to say on that. Look, the kids are getting tired of seeing. That's just basically what it is. See, let me just throw this out here, because I don't want to get too deep into this, but I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think that that's a lot of these sexual images that are put in these movies were and are by design to sexualize the children so that it's easier to control them. Because when you are overwhelmed with sexual desires and you all about passion, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, and consumerism, you're not thinking, you're just feeling. And what is one of the easiest ways to control young minds? Is to oversaturate them with a lot of sensual stuff. He oversaturated with a lot of sensual stuff. If they oversaturated with all this sensual stuff, that's what it's going to end up. It's going to be hard for them to think because they're too busy trying to get their freak on. Okay? And that's what the elites at the top of the pyramid want. They want people that they can control. So they push these films through these proxy groups, so forth, to lobby Hollywood studios to put these images in these movies, sitcoms, and TV shows in order to innovate. It's a bigger, I believe, okay, that there's a bigger picture, a bigger agenda on the map, so to speak. Okay, I don't think it's just where we think this is what sells. That's a bunch of nonsense. Because if sex is, if this whole idea, well, sex sells, that's only partly true. That's true if you're talking about pornography. Yeah, because pornography is the biggest, one of them is a multi-billion-dollar a year business. Yeah, but it's pornography. Okay, all right, it's pornography. Obviously, yeah, sex could sell in that sense. But most people that listen to music, most people that go to the movies, they really just want to be entertained. They don't want to be overly inundated with sexual images. And when I hear this stuff about sex sells, that's a bunch of nonsense to me. In pornography, yes. But in movies and music, no. Now, I believe that they're designed to over-sexualize the public so that it's easier to control them for the New World Order. Yes, I said it. Ooh, it's a conspiracy theory. Well, call it what you want. I've been reading up on that. I've been studying up on that for years. Okay, I ain't just ran into it yesterday. I know it's real. I know there's an agenda, and I know there's a plan. Okay, because if sex sells so much, okay, then what about people that don't promote sexual imagery or sexual lyrics in their songs and make buku money? I was talking to one of my coworkers the other day about this same situation, same scenario, and I brought up the same point that I'm bringing up here. If that's the case, then what about people like Stevie Wonder and others who was multimillionaires, sold millions of albums and records off of songs that did not provoke sexual imagery? So if sex was so big and all that kind of stuff, then how come they made a lot of money? How come they sold a lot of records? Because it's not just about sex. The purpose is to overstimulate you. That's the whole purpose, to get you overstimulated so that you can go and do your bang, 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 while the elites are creating agendas and policies that will dictate to you the way you think, the way you feel, the way you do everything. Next thing you know, you're like, what in the world? I got to get something in my brain in order to do it. I ain't going to go into the detail of it here, but yeah, it gets deep. That's a bigger picture. And sum it up this way. There's a bigger picture for all this sexual nonsense. So, to sum this up, yeah, I believe that the young people don't want to see that kind of stuff. They're tired of it, not because they want platonic, all that. No. They're getting sick and tired of being inundated just with these imageries. Just entertain me. Make a superhero movie, make a funny comedy, make a funny TV show, action-packed TV show, make a scary, gory horror movie, and leave it at that. Stop with all the sexual nonsense, okay? Because even though they may be young, that's not all they want to see. They want to be entertained like any human being that goes to the movies, listens to music, and watches TV wants. That's my opinion on it. Thank you and good night. Okay, all right. But that's just my opinion on it. What do you guys think about this? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all and see you again.